Chapter 5. I woke up to a tap on my shoulder. I opened my eyes and saw Gabby standing over me with a towel wrapped around her body. She was brushing her hair and said, "You should get up now. The shower is free." I looked at the window, and even though the curtains were drawn, I could see the sun had not come up yet. I then looked at the clock on my nightstand. It read 5:53. "Are you an owl?" I asked. "Have you seen the time? Do you think sleeping all day is a good idea?" "Not all day, but some of the day would be nice," I said as I got out of bed. I went into the bathroom and noticed myself in the mirror as I got undressed to take a shower. I saw myself in the mirror before, but never looked closely. I was muscular without an ounce of excess fat. As much as I didn't like being in someone else's body, this was something I could get used to. I thought about how I disliked vain people, but after seeing myself, I couldn't help feeling a bit of pride and even smugness about how I looked. I tried to shrug off that feeling as I got into the shower. The hotel offered a complimentary breakfast, and we arrived when it opened at 7 a.m. There wasn't a large selection, but it was enough for me. I put some bacon and eggs on my plate, a waffle, and 2 pieces of toast. Gabby was ahead of me in line and picked out a table near a window. I sat down across from her. The breakfast room was on the first floor at the front of the hotel. Through the window, I saw a young couple heading to their car, pulling large suitcases behind them. I also saw a man in a suit carrying a briefcase in one hand and a small suitcase in the other. It was quite busy at 7 a.m. I looked at Gabby and said, "I like your company and appreciate you breaking me out of that place, but it would be best if we parted ways here. You have done way more than any decent person would do in a situation like this." "I'm not leaving you," she said casually as she took a bite of her bagel. "Why is it so important for you to help me?" She finished chewing her bagel and swallowed. "I care about your father almost as much as you do. I very much want to find him and make sure he is okay. I am willing to take the risk." I took the phone she gave me out of my pocket and held it up. "I'll call you if I find him." "I'll tell you what," she said. "I have people who can handle my business for a while. How about I give you a week? If we can't find Bernie by then, I will go home." I got the feeling that this girl would not give up, so I said, "Fine. I suppose I can put up with you for a week." She smiled and said, "You're a funny guy. Keep it up, and you'll be stuck with me for 2 weeks. Well, I could probably think of a few worse fates. If you want to get rid of me, we should probably think about how we will find your dad. Do you have any idea where he might be? I thought we could start at the house he rents here and then head down to Florida if we don't find anything there." "Okay," Gabby said. "I doubt we will find anything useful there, but you never know." Gabby called a local car rental office from our room, and they sent someone to the hotel to pick us up. Once there, Gabby used her fake ID and credit card to rent a car. I wondered if she would pay the credit card bill or if it was a stolen number. I decided it was best not to ask. The counter agent reviewed the available cars and said he had 2 Mustang convertibles and could give us one for the same price as a mid-size sedan. Gabby jumped on the idea of a convertible and said, "We'll take the Mustang." "You do realize that it's too cold to put the top down, which is why they lowered the price?" I said. "You do realize that we will probably drive it to Florida?" "Touché," I said. I couldn't argue that logic. When Gabby finished the paperwork, I put our stuff in the trunk and started to get into the driver's seat when Gabby grabbed my arm and said, "What do you think you're doing?" "I thought I would drive first," I said. "Do you have a problem with that? Tell me, what will you do if the police pull you over?" I didn't think about that. I had nothing. No license, no credit card, and no cash. I walked around and got into the passenger seat while Gabby sat in the driver's seat. "After careful consideration," I said, "I think it would be best if you drive." She looked at me briefly, smiled, and shook her head before starting the engine. We drove for 10 or 15 minutes and ended up in an older part of town. We stopped at a 2-story home that looked similar to most other homes on the street. It had a large, covered porch. 5 pillars supported the roof over the porch. Stairs were located on the left and right, with a small gap between them. The house had no driveway, so we parked parallel to the street in front of it. Gabby and I got out of the car and walked toward the house. There were 2 front doors. The left was labeled A and the right was labeled B. The right door had caution tape over it. "This looks like a duplex," I said. "It is," Gabby said. "I thought you said he was renting a house." "This is a house. What are you talking about?" "Never mind," I said. I didn't picture Dad living in a duplex, but it made sense since he lived alone. We approached the door with the caution tape. I looked around and saw no one looking, so I pulled the tape off one side and noticed the door was broken. It looked like someone kicked it open or hit it with something heavy. I pushed it open and we went inside. It looked very quaint. It had old wood floors that were polished to a nice shine. The living room was simple. A sofa and chair sat on one side, while a television sat across from them on a small stand. Only one picture hung on the wall. It was a picture of Mom and Dad with me when I graduated from high school. The small kitchen had an old gas stove and an even older refrigerator. When I opened the fridge, I saw only a few condiments on the door. Everything else was cleaned out. The cabinets were mostly filled with dishes, but the pantry was empty. "He probably gave most of his food away to a neighbor or someone before he left," I said. We went upstairs, where we found 2 bedrooms. One had a double-sized bed and a dresser. That was it. Nothing hung on the walls. I checked the closet. Several dress shirts and pants were hanging there, but I saw no casual clothes. I also saw a heavy coat, but no light jacket. "Looks like he took his casual clothes and left the dressy stuff behind," I said. "He also left his heavy coat behind." "He must have headed to Florida," Gabby said. I agree. We checked the second bedroom. Inside was a desk, but no computer or laptop. There was also a bookcase with several books related to neurology, memory, and even computer programming, but we found nothing that would give away Dad's destination. We left there and got back on the road, heading for Florida. The first couple of hours went smoothly. Gabby told me about moving to the United States from Mexico when she was 12 years old. She said her father was a police chief who worked hard to bring down a local drug cartel. Unfortunately, many police officers were corrupt, and his efforts were met with much resistance. One day, her mother was found dead, the victim of a drug overdose. The police ruled it a suicide, but Gabby's father knew it was a warning. To protect his children, he sought asylum in the United States. In exchange, he told them everything he knew about the cartel, and all the cops he suspected were working for them. I ran steadily for almost a mile, and then slowed to a walk when I reached the marina near the heart of town. I was surprised that I was only slightly winded. I felt like I could have turned around and run back with no problem. The old me couldn't run to the end of the block without getting tired. I decided I liked this feeling, and I was going to try to keep in shape. When I returned to the hotel, Gabby was sitting on the bed watching the news. She didn't look at me when I came in, but after several long seconds, she put the television on mute, turned to me, and said, "Feeling better?" "Better?" I asked. "Better than what?" "Something is obviously on your mind. I figured you went out for a walk to clear your head." "I'm fine. I just have many questions floating around in my mind with no clear answers." "Did that walk help clear any of them up?" she asked. "I'm afraid not," I said. It added to my long list of questions, but I didn't feel like mentioning that to her. "Well, it's late. Maybe a good night's sleep will help clear your head." With that, she proceeded to undress for bed. I'm not sure why she felt so comfortable stripping down to her underwear in front of me, while at the same time keeping me at a distance because of her boyfriend. Perhaps she just got off on teasing men. I wondered if her boyfriend knew she behaved like this. I let the thought cross my mind for a moment that I was special, but I knew better. We were up early the following day and headed to the lobby, where a breakfast buffet was set up. I got coffee and some bacon and eggs before sitting across from Gabby, who had granola, a yogurt, and a glass of orange juice. I said, "I'm still thinking about what I'm going to say when we get there." "Worrying won't help," Gabby said. "Just go with the flow. You will think of it when the time comes." I hope so. I've never met myself before, and seeing my wife with another man might freak me out a little, even if that man is me. Maybe I should go without you. "No, I can handle it, but you can come with me to help if I get stuck." I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm not sure how I should take that. Take it any way you want. You need to understand that you are not Alex anymore, and Lisa is not your wife, she said. Remember, the memories in your head were implanted. They are someone else's memories. You are not that person. From here on, the life you live is your own. I nodded in reluctant agreement, and then she said, "Hey, you need your own identity," and excitedly dug through her purse, coming out with a driver's license. "I just remembered my brother got this for you." She handed me the card. It said John Miller and was a very good copy of a Virginia driver's license. At least, I assumed it was a good copy, having never seen one before. It did not exactly look like me, although it was similar. "Where did you get the photo?" I asked. "I told David what you looked like, and he found a photo that matched the description," she said. "We were in a hurry. Don't worry, nobody checks photos carefully. I just wouldn't show it to a cop. If anyone can look it up, they will learn it's fake." I put the ID in my pocket, and we finished breakfast without saying much more. We checked out and then got in the car for what felt like the longest 5-minute ride of my life. When we arrived, Gabby parked on the street in front of the house and said, "Are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be," I said, and we both got out of the car and walked to the front door. This audiobook continues on the next video. For more information on this book and others by this author, please visit charleshuss.com.